Imagine for a second that you're looking at someone you've literally watched grow up on a screen.
Right, someone you feel like you know.
Exactly. Like, you know their mannerisms, you know their voice. You basically spent your entire childhood with them hanging out in your living room.
Yeah, they're practically family.
But then suddenly you look at them today and you feel like you are looking at a complete stranger.
Oh, it's super unsettling.
It is. It's this mysterious, slightly unnerving experience. And it's also a phenomenon that's happening right now in real time with, one of the biggest stars on the planet. So welcome to another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we are unpacking the bizarre controversies and the just intense public scrutiny surrounding the former cast of a beloved magical teen sitcom. Yes, we're talking about Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh, man, what a topic.
Right. Our mission today is to really figure out how the public handles the messy, complicated reality of child stars transitioning into adulthood.
Because it's never smooth.
Never. We're looking at everything from the intense hyper-analysis of their physical appearances to the bitter behind-the-scenes power grabs over their own legacies.
It's just a fascinating landscape to explore, to be honest, because when a child star grows up, they aren't just changing their clothes or updating their hairstyle.
Yeah.
They are actively disrupting this comfortable, static memory that millions of people hold of them. And the public's reaction to that disruption is rarely graceful.
No, it's usually pretty brutal.
Yeah, and it reveals an enormous amount about how we, as a society, process nostalgia and, parasocial attachment.
So to really understand the mechanics of this whole phenomenon, we have to start with the absolute center of gravity for this franchise, which is Selena Gomez.
Naturally.
Right. And there is this massive wave of recent online discourse, like widespread fan speculation, claiming that she is literally not who she used to be.
Yeah, the internet is having a field day with it.
People are floating these wild clone allegations and Illuminati conspiracy theories. And it's fueled entirely by how much her appearance and her voice have changed. But I have to ask, isn't a voice change just a normal part of aging or health fluctuations?
I think so, yeah.
Why is the internet jumping straight to science fiction?
Well, the jump to science fiction happens because of the very specific nature of the change.
Yeah.
I mean, the fixation on her voice is particularly revealing here.
How so?
So we've seen other pop stars alter their speech before. Ariana Grande is a great example, right? She completely changed her speech pattern.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like the rhythm, the pacing, the inflection of how she talks.
Yeah.
But widespread observation notes that Selena's shift isn't about the pattern. It's a fundamental change in her tone and her enunciation.
Okay, so it's how she's physically forming the words.
Exactly. When enunciation changes suddenly, the human brain registers this uncanny valley effect.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. The person looks familiar, but the auditory processing signals that something is fundamentally misaligned.
Which, of course, naturally leads the internet to play amateur plastic surgeon, just looking for a mechanical reason for that auditory shift.
Always.
The cosmetic speculation out there is relentless right now. People are heavily analyzing her face, and there's this whole conversation going on about veneer blindness.
Oh, the veneer blindness discourse.
Yes. This trend where Hollywood celebrities are getting these incredibly large, oversized teeth. The online discourse compares it to Miley Cyrus, who originally got those big teeth and then, slowly seemed to get more natural-looking teeth back.
The mechanics of the mouth are precisely what we need to look at here, actually.
Because of the acoustics.
Right. If your teeth are physically too big for the natural architecture of your mouth, it objectively alters the acoustics of your speech.
Because they're blocking the sound.
Basically, yeah. The teeth act as a barrier that the tongue has to navigate differently and that physically changes how consonants are formed.
Wow. But this alteration of the mouth's acoustics isn't just about teeth, though, is it?
No, not at all.
Because the muscles shaping those words are also under intense scrutiny. There's a massive debate circulating right now about a potential lip lift.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Some online observers speculate it's a surgical lip lift, which, if you don't know, involves physically cutting the skin right up by the nostril to pull the upper lip up.
And this is where the mechanical analysis gets really interesting. Because as humans age, the space between the nose and the upper lip naturally lengthens due to gravity.
Just a loss of collagen and all that.
Exactly. So to counteract that, a lot of people seek out surgical lifts. But others are suggesting her current look is actually the result of Botox.
Which is wild, because if it's Botox, it's like cutting the tension cable on a suspension bridge.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. Because if you use Botox, you're freezing the muscle above the lip. And if you freeze the muscle that naturally pulls the lip up and maintains that tension, gravity just completely takes over the lower half.
Yeah, creating what some people are calling a bulldog mouth.
Which sounds so mean, but it makes it physically difficult to fully close the lips when speaking. It is just wild to me how every single syllable she utters is being treated like a forensic biology project. It's like this digital magnifying glass.
It really is. And it comes down to a profound psychological clash. Fans hold on to this nostalgic, completely static image of a child star.
Because they grew up with them.
Exactly. That image represents their own youth, their own comfort. But that static image is colliding with the biological realities of aging.
And the stylistic evolution of an adult.
Yeah, and the sometimes unpredictable results of modern Hollywood aesthetic procedures, like we were just talking about.
Right.
When the real person no longer matches the mental avatar the fan has created, the fan's brain processes it as an anomaly.
Like an imposter.
Exactly. An imposter. Think about it for a second. If you, listening right now, look back at a photo of yourself from 15 years ago, you look fundamentally different.
Oh, completely.
But you grant yourself the grace of aging. We just do not grant that same grace to childhood icons.
Which perfectly explains why fans aren't just scrutinizing her physical changes, right?
Yeah.
They are heavily questioning the narrative she's currently selling alongside this new aesthetic.
The whole new era branding.
Exactly. She has been on a massive press run recently, heavily focused on a new fragrance, and the marketing is all built around a new chapter, a fresh start.
Right.
There is this quote circulating where she stated that after she got married, she wanted to make a fragrance, like framing this as a definitive new era. But I have to assume this is just standard corporate synergy, right? Every celebrity launches a perfume eventually. Why is the internet reacting so poorly to her talking about a new chapter?
Because, to the audience, it isn't just a perfume. It's the commodification of her mental health journey. That framing is what has triggered this wave of capitalist critique from her audience. People are accusing her of taking the very human concept of new beginnings, of healing, of surviving trauma, and cynically repackaging it to sell a consumer product.
Wow. And it gets even more complicated when you look at a recent major television interview she did on the Jennifer Hudson show.
Yeah, that was a big moment.
She stated that you have to break in order to pick yourself up again. She framed this breakdown as something that prepared her for her current mission and prepared her for someone as wonderful as her partner, Benny Blanco.
Right.
It was this incredibly raw admission of hitting absolute rock bottom, dealing with severe mental illness, returning to therapy. So is it actually possible for a massive celebrity to share genuine, raw trauma without it inherently becoming a marketing tool for their latest product launch?
That is the million-dollar question. We really have to ask ourselves how the machinery of modern celebrity operates today. The commodification of authenticity is a very real, very complicated dynamic.
It's all about being relatable now.
Exactly. 50 years ago, old Hollywood stars sold an illusion of absolute perfection. They were untouchable deities. But today, the currency is flipped. Stars sell their vulnerability.
We basically demand that they share their trauma.
We do. And I don't doubt for a second that her trauma and her therapy are genuine. But when those deeply personal struggles are placed on a strictly regimented press tour schedule right next to a fragrance launch,
The lines get blurry.
the lines between personal testimony and corporate branding completely dissolve.
Yeah. And she credits this raw, vulnerable period for preparing her for her current partner, Benny Blanco. But the public perception of him is incredibly polarized.
Very polarized.
Which is just pouring fuel on these imposter theories.
Oh.
Take her recent 34th birthday trip, for example. He traveled from New York to Europe to celebrate with her, but he took a boat across the ocean because of an unaddressed fear of flying?
Yeah, that made a lot of headlines.
Wait, if the guy genuinely has a severe phobia of flying, taking a boat seems like a perfectly reasonable workaround. Why is the internet so mad about a romantic gesture?
Well, it's about the scale and the insulation of billionaire tier wealth.
Yeah.
You have people praising it as a grand romantic gesture, yes. But there is a loud environmental critique pointing out the staggering carbon footprint of taking a massive solo vessel across the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, right.
For a celebrity with virtually unlimited resources, the expectation is that you could simply hire the best therapists in the world to address the flying phobia, rather than utilizing a workaround that has the environmental impact of a small town.
That makes sense. And the celebration itself was super lavish. They were in Tuscany at Il Boro in the Ferragamo estate, making fresh pasta, going horseback riding.
Sounds idyllic.
But then there's this bizarre detail that everyone fixated on. Selena actually cooked her own birthday dinner. Specifically, she made squash filled with cream.
Yeah, people really latched onto that.
I want you to think about how you would feel if millions of strangers analyzed what you ate on your birthday. For normal people, cooking on your birthday happens all the time. But for one of the wealthiest pop stars on Earth, who normally has private chefs on standby, people were looking at this and asking if he made her cook her own birthday feast.
It feeds directly into the overarching narrative people are building that something is amiss in their power dynamic. And that narrative is heavily amplified by Benny's own public persona and his marketing choices.
Oh, definitely.
He recently ran a campaign for his new music project titled Moso.
Which translates to gorgeous man delusional, right?
Exactly.
The marketing for that project was incredibly jarring. He was wearing this full-face Halloween-style mask while riding on the back of a bicycle with Selena.
It was definitely a choice.
And there was also a video that circulated of him licking her foot. It's provoked this intense reaction where fans are literally calling him a handler or suggesting there's some sort of demon attachment going on.
It got very intense, very fast.
It's like the nice couple in a horror movie, you know. They're all smiles, but you know they have a dark secret in the basement. And all the while, he is actively capitalizing on her massive platform. We're talking about the most followed woman on Instagram globally.
Yeah, she is only behind Cristiano Ronaldo in total followers.
And he's using that unmatched reach to promote his own music.
What we're witnessing here is a prime example of parasocial ownership colliding with real-world relationship dynamics. When one partner leverages the astronomical platform of the other.
Especially in ways that feel a bit creepy.
Right, especially in ways that feel aesthetically unsettling to the core fan base, the public reacts defensively. The fans feel a protective instinct over Selena. They guarded her when she was a Disney star, and now they feel she is being utilized for clout.
Even if she's a willing participant.
Exactly. Instead of accepting that she might just be a complex adult in an eccentric relationship, they invent theories, like clones or handlers. They use these theories to rationalize why she isn't acting the way they expect her to.
Yeah. It is fascinating that while fans are desperately trying to forcibly control Selena's current narrative and keep her in this neat little nostalgic box, her former co-star is doing the exact same thing behind the scenes of their childhood show.
Oh, the reboot drama, yes.
The former co-stars of Wizards of Waverly Place are engaged in this bitter power grab.
The drama surrounding the new spin-off, Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, is a masterclass in legacy management and bruised egos.
It really is.
David Henry, who played the older brother Justin, has essentially commandeered the project, positioning himself as an executive producer.
And the original cast members are coming out of the woodwork to share how they were treated. Jake T. Austin, who played the youngest brother Max, was entirely excluded from the reboot.
Which is wild, considering he's a main character.
Right, despite publicly stating he was 100% in since he was asked back in 2020.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer Stone, who played Harper, revealed she was only allowed in a single episode because David explicitly told her it didn't make sense for her to be there.
Just heartbreaking for the fans.
Totally. And Dan Benson, who played Zeke, publicly called the reboot the failed David Henry show. So I have to assume, maybe he excluded the old cast just to protect the brand for a modern, younger Disney audience, right? Like, a clean slate is just a business decision. Why on earth would a producer intentionally exclude beloved legacy characters from a nostalgia reboot? Is this about protecting a narrative, or is it just a decade-old grudge match?
You might think it's a business decision if you only look at the surface. But if you look at the history, it appears deeply personal. There is a profound historical irony layered underneath all this tension.
What do you mean?
If you look back at the origins of the original show, David Henry was initially supposed to be the undisputed lead. It was built as his vehicle.
Wow.
But then Selena Gomez was cast, and she became the breakout star, entirely overshadowing him.
That has to sting.
Furthermore, years later, David point-blank refused to return for the Alex vs. Alex special because he explicitly stated he wanted to move on from his Disney image.
So this isn't about protecting the brand for a new generation at all. It is a decade-old grudge match playing out in real time.
From a psychological standpoint, it's a former teen star attempting to rewrite his own history. Now that he has the leverage of an executive producer credit, He is utilizing that architectural power to rebuild the house.
And he's putting himself right in the middle.
Exactly. He's centering himself in a legacy where he was previously relegated to the background. By controlling who returns and who doesn't, he is constructing a reality whereas his character, the responsible older brother, is the true, undisputed anchor of the franchise.
But the irony is just dripping from this.
Yeah.
Because David's desperate desire to control that responsible older brother narrative crashes spectacularly into the reality of his own real-world controversies.
It really shatters the Disney illusion completely.
It does, and quite frankly, it highlights a massive double standard in how we treat these stars, because we have to talk about his arrest.
Yes, the contrast between the wholesome producer image he's trying to project and his actual public record is quite stark.
It's the ultimate mask slip. Like, people are obsessing over a literal Halloween mask on Selena's boyfriend. But David was arrested at LAX for bringing a loaded gun through the security checkpoint in his carry-on bag.
An actually loaded weapon at an international airport.
Yes. He was initially charged with 3 crimes, which included carrying a loaded firearm and carrying a concealed firearm. He was facing up to a year in jail before he eventually managed to secure a plea deal.
And that wasn't an isolated incident of questionable judgment regarding firearms.
Oh, it wasn't.
There was a concerning social media post he made right after finding out his wife was expecting a daughter.
Oh, this is bad.
His public reaction to the pregnancy news was a post asking, "Where's my shotgun? Someone get me a shotgun."
Why on earth is the internet tearing Selena apart for the micromillimeters of her lip shape or her boyfriend wearing a Halloween mask, while this guy actually carried a loaded weapon into an airport and is still allowed to play the wholesome, family-friendly Disney producer? How does the public square that circle?
It has everything to do with how society processes nostalgia and enforces gender dynamics. We allow the older brother archetype to maintain his status because he represents safety and traditional authority.
Even when he's literally carrying a weapon.
Even when he violates the law in a dangerous way. The Hollywood legal machine and public memory are often willing to smooth it over, granting him a plea deal and a clear path back to producing. We preserve him because we want to preserve the memory of the show.
Oh, not for the women.
No. Female pop stars, however, are constantly subjected to aesthetic policing. When they deviate from the pristine, youthful ideal we froze them in, society feels betrayed.
Right.
We tear down the female star who breaks the aesthetic mold while actively protecting the male star who breaks the law, because doing so maintains our comfortable illusions.
That is so true. Society demands total authenticity from these child stars. We scream at them to be real with us. But the second that authenticity includes natural aging, changing cosmetic tastes, processing severe trauma, or dating someone we just don't understand, society immediately rebels. We point fingers and yell, "Imposter!"
Because it is infinitely easier to believe in a clone or a mind control conspiracy than to accept that the people who defined your childhood are just as complicated, flawed, and unpredictable as everyone else.
Yeah.
It is crucial for you, listening right now, to reflect on how easily we project our own nostalgia onto public figures. We essentially demand that they freeze in time, remaining static action figures on a shelf, purely for our own emotional comfort.
And it leaves you with something pretty heavy to think about long after this deep dive is over. Imagine your own high school experience. If your most awkward, formative teenage years were legally owned by a massive corporation and beloved by millions of strangers around the globe, how would you handle the crushing daily pressure of trying to grow out of a version of yourself that the world simply refuses to let die?